Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? So today is the 26th of Jan, and a happy Republic Day to every one of you. Our Republic is doing really nice, really great. India is doing really well. I'm so happy that we've born this land, and we're part of the history that's unfolding. Well, that's said and done. We are looking at charts at the current moment in time on the Nifty and the BankNifty, and yes, the Sensex also this time. And I'm seeing some really bad signs. We're at the cusp of a major event. And that major event is the budget session that we're going to have in the first week of February. And that's something that has lost its significance, but it's an opportunity for the FM to make things happen. And we're seeing that we're drifting lower every day. Every time the market tries to go up, you see a fall coming in. And no buying is sustaining. So we're in a bad shape. We have to accept that we're in a bad shape. And the charts are showing early signs of a breakdown, a serious breakdown. Now, I'm not trying to be alarmist. I'm not trying to make you feel, feel fear in your minds, but that's what the charts are saying. And if they say that, it's my job to bring it to you. With that said, I'll come on to the charts and show you why I feel so. And you will see for yourself when I analyze the charts, the three charts. We'll analyze the Nifty, the BankNifty, the Sensex. We'll analyze three charts and we'll probably do an analysis of 2 or 3 important stocks. We can talk about Reliance, we can talk about HDFC, and a few important stocks which will have a heavy weight on the index and will tell us what we're doing. We can also do some analysis on the sectors to find out what's happening. We'll do all of that in this video. So let's start and see what are the signs and what is in store for us in this crucial week. The 1st of Feb is going to be a crucial day. And if we have to fall, that could be the trigger. And if we have to rise, that could be the trigger too. So I'm not saying that I've lost hope, but yeah, the charts are saying something and they are leaning down unless we see something really drastic, which Mrs. Sitaraman brings up. And if she just doesn't do anything good for the markets to take as good news, we are going to fall. The only way we can save this market is if she brings in some cheer with some good news. So in my assessment, the weightage is to the downside. Let's look at the charts. So you see these charts on our screen now. So today I'm going to be a little different and we are going to look at the Sensex futures chart to start with. Now, Sensex, Nifty, they're all similar, but Sensex represents 30 stocks on the Bombay Stock Exchange, Nifty 50 stocks on the National Stock Exchange. And because this gives me a little better purview because I've not been looking at this chart per se. So I thought I'll start with this chart to give me a fresh perspective without any baggage in my mind of the previous moves that we've seen. So I decided to start with this particular chart in the session. So what we're seeing is that this was an important level which we have breached. Now this is the election candle, if you remember. This is the 3rd of June, 4th of June, the elections were announced or something. So we are on the weekly chart. So this is that week in which the elections were announced. And we went down and tagged this level of 70,900 in that particular period and then, reversed back. It was a major day for our markets. Since then, we've gone up. We've practically done a huge run post the elections. We've gone up by about 10,000 points, roughly 13%, 13.13%. And we've come all the way back down. And we're at the cusp of what we were just before the elections were announced. So we've done an entire circle and we're down in the last whatever months back near the end of Jan, and we're back at this level of 70,000, 70,900 or 76,000 as we see it here. Now, this is the weekly chart. Now, what I see in the weekly is I try to assess what week on week what's been happening. So if you see, let's trace what has been happening in the last 4 weeks. Every time we break the weekly low, so we broke the weekly low in this particular week, which is the first week of Jan, and we went lower. We again broke the weekly low. We opened, in fact, lower than the low of the week in this week, which was the 13th of Jan, Monday, and we've ended lower. In this particular week, what we've done is we have again breached the weekly low of what we did in the last week, and we've again reached lower. So for the last 1, 2, 3 weeks, the moment we close lower than the previous week, we have been tracking lower. So with that said, the indication that we get is the moment we breach this level of 75,865, I will mark this level for you, we could be ending lower for the week. This is a simple assessment that I get from price action. Now, just to make things a little more interesting, let me go to the monthly and see what's happening on the monthly. So what you see here on the monthly is, again, we closed lower than the month of December, and for the Jan, we've been falling, and you see we're lower. Now, as far as this month is concerned, the current low is 75.7. This current low is 75,800, 900, 80, 900 odd. And if we go lower than that in the current month, this is a running candle, so we could go lower. And thing to assess is that we have breached this low of the month of November, which is what hurts me. This is what tells me that for this month, we are looking low. And now this month, only a week is left. This is the only week that is left in this month. And what are the days that we're talking about? We're talking about 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. And yes, we have the 31st in the Jan. Yeah, so there are about 5 days that we have left in this month. So an entire week's candle will come through. And we could be closing lower below this particular level of November. Now, if we close below the November level, so in my assessment, anything below 76,909, a closing below 76,909 is going to be bearish for Nifty for this month. That's for the Sensex, that is, for this particular month is my assessment on the Sensex. Now, what is the range the Sensex does in an entire month? Let's see what is the range the Sensex is giving us in the last 3 months. In the month of November, it gave us 5,600 points. In the month of October, it gave us 5,600. And then in November, it gave us 4,000 points. In the month of December, it gave us 3,600, 3,700 points. And what has happened in this particular month? In this particular month, we've already had a range of 4,300 points. And I'm looking at something higher. So 4,500 average. So we are just about there, 4,500 points. Now let's take the same reading to February, and a 4,500 point lower in February, or maybe a 4,000 point lower in February, will take us down to 71,328, which in my assessment is going to be my target for the month of February to early March. So we will be closing in on 71,230, 328, depending on what we do post the budget, but this is the lower target. Now, let us look at a scenario where the markets decide to bounce. Mrs. Sitaraman is happy with what she is, in a good mood, and she gives us what all of us want. My first target for a happy announcement in the budget is going to be this one, which is going to be 80,536, and then on to 82,719. These are the two targets on the upside, and on the downside, if we fall, I will be bold enough to tell you that the ultimate target will be 71,000. We could have a small resistance somewhere around this level. which is 72,214. So approximately a 3,500 point fall in the wings for the month of February, and maybe by March we will get to that 71,043 level. That's my understanding for the Bank Nifty. Now let's go to, sorry, the Sensex. Now let's go to the Nifty and see what the Nifty can give us. On the monthly again, not a very good sign. I have my markings already ready with you, ready with me. So before I started to analyze, I was doing some research and I found that anything below 23,290, which was the low of the November month, is going to be something which is going to be not very good for the markets for the month of Feb. Anything about 23,290 would give us some hope, which can take us back higher. My first targets on the higher side being this level of 23,930 and 23,987. These are the foolish scenarios. Only if Mrs. Sitaraman happens to be happy with us and gives us something to cheer about. Well, if she doesn't do anything drastic in the budget and she continues and doesn't hurt the economy or doesn't even do any better. So if she remains with status quo, I'm afraid we are going to fall because we are in a negative sentiment with falling numbers from the corporates, and we could go down to 21,220. Now, there's a little silver lining in what happened in this weekend's results, and ICICI gave a very bullish set of results, and banks are doing well. So we are looking for a spark to take us higher. And, markets just look at one spark and they can take us higher. But the real spark in this particular week is going to be the Feb 1 announcement that Mrs. Sitaraman is going to give to us. So if you see the Bank Nifty chart, futures chart, again, not looking too good. As long as we're below 23,290, I'm bearish and aiming for lower levels. This is my ultimate destination. I'll give you an intermediate level. This will be the intermediate level that we could have a small bounce from, but eventually we should get to 21,220 is what I have been assessing. If you've seen my earlier videos, 21,800 was always coming, and now it looks more and more possible. Let's look at the Bank Nifty futures chart and see what's in store for us there. Now, you see, Bank Nifty has been very, very difficult. In fact, Bank Nifty I'm surprised the Bank Nifty, the results are not so bad, but the Bank Nifty has been worse off. So it is way lower than your November lows of 49,810. That was the November low, and we are lower than that as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned on the monthly chart. Let's look at the weekly and see what's in store for us with the weekly. So in this last week, we did go back and test that low of 49,879 for the month of November, and we've fallen down again. Again, that's a very poor sign that we haven't been able to sustain the highs, and we have come lower. So fresh targets for Bank Nifty. Here they go. What do we have? We have 46,223 as our final destination for Bank Nifty, say around the month of March, and maybe an interim destination of 47,050. We're not far away from 47,050. We're just about 1,400 points away. And if you look at Bank Nifty moves, this is something that the Bank Nifty gives us very often. In a day, we'd probably do 800 points in a day. So I expect 47,050 to 46,223 on the Bank Nifty if we really don't do well with what Mrs. Sitaraman has to deliver to us. So guys, these are the three indexes that should normally give us a gauge of what the market is doing. And we aren't getting good signals here. So let's look at a few stocks. Let's look at Reliance and see what Reliance is doing for us. Reliance is doing somewhat better, showing me some signs of kind of building A reversal, not exactly. We have gone up. This is something which is an important level. This particular level of 1246 is an important level. And if what we see is we tried to breach it from the top, but we were hit back down again. And there's one more important level that I see here is this level, which was the 13,020 odd level. And we did try to go up, but again, the lows, let's go to the monthly and see what's happening for us. So the lows of the month of October is what we tried to tag in the current month, and we were pushed right back down. Now that's not a good sign as far as the monthly candle goes. But as long as we are above this candle of 1203 for this month, maybe an action like this should help us. So what I would want is the candle should go down and then it should go back up again. This will help matters for the Reliance stock if we are to get anything better. And if we don't do that, there are two targets to the bottom that I see coming in. The first target will be 11,116. 1116, and the next target would be 992, sub 1,000 on BankNifty on the Reliance chart. My God, that's brutal. That is possible and it's brutal. So if we breach this level of 1203, our first target on the downside would be this line of 1116, and then further weakness could lead us down to 991. Now, Reliance moves around 24 rupees in a day. So we are not far away in this week. We could get, if Sitaraman does not give us anything good, 1118 could be something that we could target in the budget session. We could just go down, tag all of these levels, see something nice, and reverse back up again. So these are levels that are going to be tagged. They could be reversing back up again. So that's not something that should be ruled out. There's some good support at this 990,000 level, and this is a crucial area. I think in the coming period, 1,000 is something that we could be tagging in the short run before it starts to move back up again. That would be a major fall because we were at 1,600, and from 1,600 to 1,000 would be a crazy 35% down, which is really crazy for a stock like Reliance, but that's the market for you. Let's look at HDFC Bank and see what HDFC Bank has got for us. We'll go to the monthly first. So as you see, HDFC Bank, as far as December is gone, has been swept. There's been a run on the December lows. Sorry. December lows have gone, and so have the lows for the month of November. November also has been breached. And now what we're doing is we're sweeping on this particular month, which was the month of October. So we are trying to sweep the lows of October on HDFC Bank. And in fact, as I see it, we have swept it. This is one good sign that I see on the BankNifty. This gives me some kind of hope. If we can sustain higher than 1627 on the BankNifty, that would be something that I would be happy with. I would be really happy to see a sustenance of 1627 on the BankNifty in this particular month. Let's go to the weekly and see what the weekly is offering us. Similar story. We have gone below in this week, below last week's lows, and we have swept them and we are coming higher. And we are probably, where is it? We've closed low higher than the last time's close. So BankNifty, especially HDFC Bank, is giving me a glimmer of hope. This is something that I should be happy to see. And this is a little bit of a contradiction to what I'm seeing on the Nifty and the Sensex. Bank Nifty, especially the HDFC chart, is giving me some interesting moves. So this is what I see on the weekly on the HDFC Bank, and this is one bright spot in everything that I see dark. Let's look at ICICI Bank, which just released its results on the weekend, and they were very positive. So what are we looking at on the ICICI Bank? Let's go to the monthly and see what the monthly is offering us. What the monthly is telling us, again, here is interesting. The monthly is telling us that we went below this candle of September and we have swept the lows and we have closed higher. Now that's interesting. Having swept the lows and closed higher, and with the results coming out on Saturday, should be an interesting thing to watch. Let's see. Well, let's see what's happening here. So we haven't breached the previous week's low in the Friday move. And this is something that is crucial. We have swept some good lows on the bank, on the ICICI Bank, which were for the second week of second week of September, end week of August, September, or end week of August, and 2 weeks of September. And we've swept those lows and we're going higher. Let's look at the daily and see what's happening. Oh, these are some good signs here again. We have swept the lows, which we got on Tuesday. We got these lows on Tuesday, and we have swept those lows, and we've seen a reversal on Friday. This is interesting. Let me go a little deep, little deeper, and a little bit inside, and I see that we are higher. We are higher from this swing high, which was formed on the 2-hourly chart. On the 2-hourly chart, and we've closed higher than that important swing point on the 2-hour chart. So 1211 was a crucial level. So the reading for this particular chart of ICICI is that we should be heading for this level in this week. The moment we cross this level, let me just give you this level. The moment we cross 12,222, we should be heading to 12,141, and then to another higher level of this is interesting, guys. This is giving me a contra signal. We could be looking at higher levels on the ICICI Bank chart, and this is one bright spot in a dreary morning that we're having. Well, this is interesting. This tells us that we should go dig deeper and go into the sectors and find out what the sectors are doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Nifty sectors and see what the Nifty sectors are doing. And for that, I'm able to see two sectors that are doing well. So the first sector that is doing well in the last session on Friday is the FMCG. So let's go on the FMCG monthly and see what is happening. Again, here are some interesting signs. We have swept the lows of the month of November and December. So we're looking at some revival. We are looking at some revival in the FMCG sector on the monthly chart. This is interesting again. Let's look at the weekly. Yes, we have closed. We have swept the lows of last week in the FMCG sector, and we've closed higher than the last week's close. So that's again something which is positive. This should be my first target to get on this move. So we are currently at 56,061, 58,247 being my first target. Guys, this is a little bit interesting. But what I need to see is a break of 58,274 and then to aim higher. So I need this break to happen. This is the fast-moving consumer goods sector. on the Nifty and some good signs here for me. So maybe the budget is going to give us something. Maybe the budget is going to give us some relief for the common man in terms of some income tax, which is going to fuel this FMCG rally, because FMCG is totally affected by the disposable income that every taxpayer has. And if that disposable income becomes higher, FMCG gets into a good spot. The other positive sector is the IT sector. So this is the IT sector chart. And what we're looking at is some bullish moves again. So what we've done is here again, we have swept the lows that we formed in the last week and we have moved higher. So though the move higher was not sustained, but we are higher and we closed higher also for the last week. So my first target for this week is going to be this level. And the second target is going to be this level. So these are the two targets that I have for the CNX IT in the coming weeks rather. These are the two targets that I'm looking at. We're currently at 43,528 close, and we're looking at these higher figures. So we could see about a 7, 8%, 10% higher level on the IT index in the coming time. What other sectors can I look at? Well, everything else looks. There are two more sectors that I would like to cover. One is the CNX Pharma. Now let's see what the CNX Pharma is doing, because this sector has been doing well with the two. And now what we're seeing is a breakdown of this sector. But the saving grace is on the monthly chart. This month is not over. So let's not take this month into our consideration. As far as the weekly charts go, not very promising, I'm afraid. We have barely swept the lows of the last week and just trying to stay afloat. Nothing major, nothing exciting out here. We just swept the lows of the month of December. This was December, this was November. So December lows have been swept, and so have been the last week's levels. So we are seeing some kind of a reversal happening in the pharma sector. On the daily we've not done well. We've just about swept the lows of the Wednesday, Thursday. We've swept the lows of last week's lows. So that's not bad, but we're still not out of the woods. So I'm not looking at very, very keenly on this. Anything above this level is when we should start looking at pharma. So anything above 22,400 is when we should be looking at pharma and trying to get to the tops again. There's one more interesting sector that I want to look at is CNX Realty. This is an important level that I'm looking at. And what do I have here? Let's go on to the monthly and see what's in store. Oh, very bad. Very, very, very bad. We've had a very literally capitulation as far as the real estate market is concerned. And we've gone really low. This market has been really weak. And we are aiming to touch this particular level here. I'm afraid we could be aiming for 810, which is a very bad news for this sector. On the monthly, though this candle is not complete, I'll still go by the monthly. Let's go by the weekly. Yes, we've swept the lows of the last week, and we've not swept, actually, we've run the lows of the last week, and that is going to take us further down. It's very sad. And after the strong buying that we saw in the last week, at the end of the last week, we've again come down, tested those levels, broken down, and we've practically seen a run. Guys, 808 is coming in this particular sector. Very, very weak. I'm very weak, outlook for the realty sector. Anything else? Let's look at metal and see what the metal index is doing for us. Let's go to the monthly and see what the metal is doing. I'll remove the drawings first. Again, there's some weakness, but yeah, there's some weakness on the monthly. This monthly candle is not complete, so I'll not take it into consideration. Let's talk about the weekly or weekly. After having gone up and done well in the last week, we swept the highs of the last week and we are coming down. We swept the highs and we are coming down. So not a good sign, guys, not a good sign. And then again, the next target, the first target for me is this weekly low, which is going to be 8338, and then going down further, we could be targeting 7938. These are the two levels that are interesting for us in the coming weeks. So guys, this is all that I want to cover in this video. There are mixed signs actually. We're weak on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and we have a little bit of a bright spot in the banks. That's the only space, and IT and FMCG. So the three bright spots in the market are the IT, FMCG, and a little bit on the bank side. And the other sectors are not doing too well. Now, there are a lot of other sectors that we could look at, but the video is going to get really long. I've tried to analyze the markets, and yeah, there are some mixed signals, but the Nifty showing weakness, the Bank Nifty is just about showing me some kind of a fight back. FMCG and IT are the only two bright spots other than everything else in this market. And that's about it. I'm not going to make any predictions in this particular video. What I've tried to do is break down what we're seeing on the index and then on some major stocks and then the sectors and try to find out what's happening. And once I see this, I construct what can possibly happen. But again, I'm not going to make any predictions. All these charts that we've analyzed, we'll see how they progress in this week and the coming weeks, and we can take our calls based on the moves that they make, the highs that they break, the lows that they go below, or the lows that they sweep, or the highs that they sweep. All these things, there are a lot of calculations that come into, the understanding of the chart. And I use that understanding to create my bias and, go to the sector and then specific stocks in that sector and try to make an assessment as to what I should be doing in my stocks. So this is it for this video. I hope it helps you, give you some insight into what's happening in the market. We're not trying to predict anything here in this particular episode. I'm not creating any trajectories because we are at the cusp of a very important week in terms of what the Nifty, the budget session coming through. But I've given you a few cues looking at what's going to happen. What can happen, that is. I'm no astrologer, but as I see it on the chart and what are the probabilities that I see. That's it for this video. Should not take it make it any longer, and look forward to seeing you again and being with you in the next video. Thanks a lot, guys.